Advice to a beginner photographer that I could give would be to try and use every piece of kit you own in as many ways possible, and probably carry your camera everywhere with you if you're passionate about learning it, because without practice you're not going to grow. Hi, I'm David Boon. I'm a portrait and fashion photographer in the middle of everything else, and I'm 25 years old. What got me into photography was trying to impress a girl. I was having a landscape sunset competition with a girl, trying to impress her, and I just took it way too seriously. And then kind of accidentally fell in love with it as an art form. I've always kind of been a little bit arty, played a lot of music and things, but that kind of was my way, because I can't draw for peanuts, so that was my way of sharing stories. As far as camera choice for me, I've got a couple of main ones that I use every day, and they are the Hasselblad H6 100. It's a medium format camera. It delivers this beautiful, out of control, huge dynamic range image that just is incomparable. So even when I don't really need to use it, I tend to like using it because the image quality is just incomparable. And then just for my walking around kind of camera, I can't deal with the file sizes, so I use an Olympus OMD EM1 Mark II, usually primes for the lenses on it. So my favorite lens I think would have to be for the Hasselblad 100mm 2.2 lens. It's at that point where it's not too wide, so you don't get too much wide angle distortion, and it's not too zoomed, so you don't get any compression issues, so it's kind of that sweet spot for portraits. And for the Olympus, it's probably not a prime, it's actually the 12 to 100mm. It's just super versatile, use it for anything. Great for if you're wanting to do some BTS video or things like that as well. My go-to lighting setup for a typical shoot would be probably the B1 or now the B10 lights as a go-to, because I can mix them with outdoor light without having to worry about plugging them in. And my favorite modifier is probably the umbrella, the white extra large umbrella, because it is probably one of the most versatile tools that I can use in one tool. You can use it without any diffusion. You can diffuse the whole thing and make it really, really soft. You can pull the umbrella in and out, which changes the shadow on backdrops and things like that. So there's a huge variety of ways you can use that one tool to produce some great results. I've used a lot of lights, but I invested in Profoto lighting, and I've just stayed with it because I've never had anything go wrong on a set. I've had almost zero misfires and no color cast problems with it. A must-have for me for portrait photography is probably a reflector. Something like a 5-in-1, if I want one reflector, is probably the best thing, because it gives you the whole option. You can diffuse light from the sun or from flashes. You can reflect light with a white bounce or a black soak-up light and kind of make things a little bit more dramatic. So that's probably, I would say, my go-to little portrait tool. I would say the best photography tip, apart from spending time learning a camera on manual, is to practice in a dark room with an artificial light source on a person if you're wanting portraits. I don't think there's any better way, in at least my understanding of how light works, than blacking out everything and introducing and controlling it myself. Even in natural light, I've found that now I can just see what it's doing and control the sun just by moving my subject from learning how to use artificial light. So even if it's a torch, a lamp, a speed light, whatever it is, I can't recommend that enough.